Oh, you know there is, oh, my sister. You know there is. Up to now, nowhere we go find how we go chop, nowhere we go find how we go serve our children.
They had prepared, borrowed money and materials to invest in efforts at getting a bountiful harvest in the year 2020. Many of them, apparently encouraged by the experience of the past few years, did not want to waste the opportunity offered by the times. But before the end of the first quarter of the year, a pandemic not seen in recent history happened on the world and sent everybody scampering for cover.
Pandemic has never promoted the work. It even causes damage to the plant, the crop that we grow.
They meant to feed the nation, but the impact of the pandemic brought untold hardship, making it almost impossible for them to feed their own families.
I have no money now to feed the fishes, even to feed myself.
I couldn't get the right feed. As I'm into hatchery, you don't just change feed abruptly. But because I couldn't get the right feed, the feed I was using at the initial stage, I couldn't get them. I had to change. And when I bought what was available at the market at that time, giving it to my fish, they started dying. So I lost so many. But if the COVID, if there was no lockdown, I'm quite sure those feed will be available in the markets.
This is the story of female smallholder farmers in Nigeria who are singing dirge when they're supposed to be dancing to the banks. The farmers have never had it so bad, from Lagos to Nasarawa, Anambra to Niger State. The narrative is total devastation of the efforts meant to assist in realizing the goals of food security.
COVID-19 has impacted negatively in our business because it's not something that anyone planned for. It just came suddenly, and some of us that collected bank loans to stock our ponds, we struggled to come to the farm to feed. We kept on feeding, but there has not been sales. We have a lot of fish in our ponds, and the selling is not coming, the marketing is not coming. Don't even know where to sell to. We just keep on feeding our fish because those are our major customers: the hotels, the restaurants, the joints, the party, the caterers. They are on lockdown, so we don't have sales. Like you can see, all my ponds are filled up with fish. There's nowhere to sell to. So we are now going of selling, and yet we have to feed. Because if we don't feed our fish, they will cannibalize themselves, and it will amount to loss. Already we are having post-harvest losses already now. So that is the dilemma we found ourselves in. So there has not been sales.
The challenge was like a raging flood, with scores swept off their feet while the government buried its head in the sand.
If government want to do something for farmers, may they really follow us to our community, look for us.
Only a negligible percentage of the over 500,000 of the women who are members of the small-scale women farmers organization, SWOFON, have had a taste of official support. There are those in that little percentage who now wish they had not ventured into plucking the advantage that the government dangled before them.
I fed this poultry, even despite how little they are, the eggs that we produce, we were unable to sell them. He said that even the little people that came, instead of the usual price, they beat the price down, and the price of the feed rise up.
In the aftermath of the COVID-19 induced lockdown, the International Center for Investigative Reporting, ICIR, with the support of the International Budget Partnership, IBP, sent out investigative reporters to 7 states of Anambra, Niger, Nasarawa, Jigawa, Lagos, Oyo, and the Federal Capital Territory to see how these women farmers were faring. The reporters were drawn from several newsrooms, including The Nation, Nigerian Tribune, Daily Trust, Plus TV, Nasarawa Broadcasting Service, and the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN. Their briefs were to find out how the farmers fared during the lockdown occasioned by the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. They were also to determine whether farmers, particularly the smallholder farmers, got financial support for them to function optimally in the bid to contribute to efforts at ensuring food security in the country. What they came out with are stories of lamentations by the farmers and fears of food crisis in the aftermath of the COVID-19. The lockdown did a lot of damage to the farming business. First, some farmers could not access their farms, particularly those whose farms are located far away from their homes. Not only that, they could not also move farm produce to consumers as there was the restriction of interstate movement. And where transporters and customers ventured to take advantage of the exemption granted farmers and traders of agricultural products and implements, they could not endure the extortion by security agents deployed to enforce the restriction order by federal and state government.
The money, he said we should send somebody along with him to the bank to get the money so that he can balance our money. During this process, the person that followed him, he tricked that person.
In Nasarawa, women share stories of dryness on the farm, how the lockdown accentuated the scarcity of resources, thus making it difficult for farmers to procure fertilizers, among other necessary things for the crops to develop well.
Killa suna ba mu taki da mina biɗin da na biyo da haka ba sa ba mu taki ba sa ba mu kuma gashi dai muna ɗan ƙoƙarin mu amma ba ma samu taki gona kuma ya riga ya mutu.
Away from Nasarawa, there is a peculiar narrative in the neighboring Niger state, where smallholder women farmers are running away from the farm for fear of being kidnapped, killed, or raped. For farmers who had planned to increase production in order to be able to meet the demands created by the school feeding program, shutting down the schools for March was capable of causing a heart attack. Adijat Olayinka said, Mrs. Jola Oye Mujidat, a smallholder woman farmer at Yanolfa in the Lagelu local government area of Oyo State, also noted that the paucity of funds has made them to do the work themselves. Mrs. Fumilayo Olaniro, a smallholder farmer in Igbora, Oyo State, said 6 of them came together and formed a unit of Swafon in the area, but the pandemic did them a fatal blow. Ajiya Fatima Dari Auyo from Auyo in Jigawa State did not have the luxury of getting produce to take to any consumer. The pathetic story of Asibi, a widow and mother of 2, is a case in point.
Chairman uprooted for their cow. You can't talk. Uprooted my cassava with the cows. You can't talk.
The woman and others in a group of women farmers are living in fear because of the impunity of herdsmen in the Kwali Area Council in the FCT.
It's more than this place. They uprooted for their cow and you talk.
Asibiwu said that our group rents land for farming at 10,000 naira per hectare, had an attack on her farmland recently by the herdsmen. At a time they were preparing for harvest, they ran at a great loss.
Arrange the cow. We went to police station. Do you know what police people tell you? No. And where they will tell you they will pay 20,000. For what? How much we spend for the farm? Because once before each land, we will hire it 10,000.
The reporters found out that the smallholder women farmers' experiences differed according to their location and the type of crop they plant. For instance, Madam Oluwatoyin Odofin, a fish farmer at the Ejigbo area of Lagos, was caught between the devil and the deep sea. She could not sell her fish and at the same time had to keep feeding them, else they would die. Whatever she did, she was bound to lose. Mrs. Odofin deals in the archery, but she had to watch helplessly as the fingerlings, which she ought to have sold months ago, grew into bigger fishes because of the lockdown.
Most women that took loan. I, for instance, I took CBN loan. I'm supposed to be due in June. So they now call me, Madam, your loan will be due in June. I say, what the hell are you talking? Where did I work that I will be paying loan? Which work did you give me to come and use in paying your loan? But haven't you heard that the federal government has advised all finance institutions or banks that if you have customers that are on loan, you have to extend the dates for them. So it just dropped. I dropped. They haven't called me back. If they call me, I'm ready to go to EFCC with them. Honestly, I'm ready to go to EFCC. Even the loan is there in their account. I cannot access it because it's in their coffers. I don't have access to it. Out of 10 million, I took 777. That is what they are calling me to come and pay loan. I said the money you are even calling me for is there. If you like, return everything. I don't care. I'm not even interested again.
Though the lockdown has been eased, it's left in its trail a microeconomy that leaves Dorothy Uchenna, Miriam Musa, among other smallholder farmers counting their losses. The National Bureau of Statistics confirms that prices of food are falling drastically when compared with previous years. Now, not being able to sell produce would definitely diminish liquidity for them. And that signals another problem, which is getting money to pay back the loans they took to do the farming in the first instance.
We have a lot of fishes in our ponds, which we took loan to raise, and there are no sales, nowhere to sell them.
They are afraid that creditors will come after them soon.
The loss is enormous in the sense for the poultry aspect. I do broiler production for meat, and it's mainly 6 weeks. I know the best I had before the lockdown, they were already 3 weeks old before the lockdown. So just under 3 weeks before the commencement of sales. But you know, because of the lockdown, there was no sales.
Most of the smallholder women farmers that our reporters spoke to in the 7 states visited said they had received no economic stimulus aid from the government. For example, Mrs. Eunice Unduka Inatini, Ogbaru local government area in Anambra State, insisted that she did not get any support from the government.
Just hearing that there is palliative, but none have reached us. We haven't even seen with our eyes. We are just hearing in the radio, news, television, all these things. But farmers are neglected.
On April 13, 2020, President Muhammadu Buhari announced some stimulus packages to ensure that the effect of COVID-19 did not create a permanent scar in Nigeria. Apart from granting a tax holiday and 3-month moratorium on repayment of loans or grants from government institutions, the federal government also announced some stimulus packages designed to mitigate the effects of the pandemic on the economy and people. Then concerned that the pandemic was taking its toll on the world and thus would have increased the level of poverty, the president ordered that the relief package be expanded from 2.6 million households to 3.6 million households within 2 weeks of the broadcast.
As well as the federal capital.
Godwin Emefiele, governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, also announced packages aimed at preventing a collapse of the economy. Emefiele, on March 17th, announced a credit relief package of 50 billion naira to businesses affected by the pandemic, drew up a policy framework covering immediate, medium, and long-term measures.
We have never seen. We only had
as a group and as a family. Have you gotten?
Nothing.
You just hear.
that.
However, Akunyiba, Ibokwe, and Onuchukwu said they did not receive any financial support or package to ease the impacts of the lockdown. There are some of the farmers who then decided that it was better to stay away from taking loans because paying back is always a problem. Wakilat Okeji, a poultry farmer from Pei village in Mishefa, in the Buari Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, is of the opinion that the soft loans that the federal government gives is grossly inadequate even for smallholder farmers.
The government should just make everything more accessible for different categories of people.
However, the smallholder women farmers are seeking government attention and more practical consideration in their business.
If they give us loan, government won't give us loan. May they not put interest too much. And if they want give us loan, may they not tell us say may we go bank because I'm a farmer. I don't know bank this because bank get wahala.
You know, you can't cushion the economy when you have stringent conditions. You expect that there are some money is going to be in form of grants, because once it is in grant form and you monitor the usage, then you get results. But once you make it too stringent, it's still the big players that are already existing in the industry that will benefit from it. But small scale farmers, how many assets do we even have that can be worth 70% of the collateral that they are asking of? So
if government can try and place who are the farmers, not who will share the money.
To make government, all these developers, may them just settle. May them allow us to do something. Even they want collect, may them show us where we go to get land and plant, so that even me myself, if I plant, not only me go eat now.
I want to tell government that let them help us to provide something for us, dream, or to assist us with some small loan, and the loan that will not make us to be frustrated. You know, in this place, all this loan that have been given to women for our place, for this our community for Apple, at times it's some run into the bush because they were not able to pay.
Let them assist us, but for them to say let us come and borrow loan, it's another more hellfire again. Because when you did not afford the money, the government will, the police people will come and chasing you. Even the people that give you the money, they will be chasing you here and there, and the more pressure will come into you.
The federal government is trying. We will hear this, but it doesn't come down to farmers. They should get a way. They should have a way how they will reach the farmer, get down to farmer itself.
Even in, as I've said the other time, chemicals, herbicide, pesticides, and all those things we need fertilizer also.
Okay,
we need grant, we need land that we can still use for cropping.
Ìrànlọ́wọ́ tá a lè rò pé ìjọba kan ràn wá lọ́wọ́ lé lórí ni pé tá a bá rówó a tún gbòòrò jù báyìí lọ, a tún lè gba àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tó tún ràn wá lọ́wọ́ wọ́n jẹ́ bí ọkùnrin tó lè mọ bá wa ju àwọn igbó tó tún wà nílẹ̀ táwa náà mọ̀ ṣe ìwọ̀n bàtàgbàrà wa bá ta nípa oògùn tá a lè fi oko nípa owó ràn wá lọ́wọ́.